Good morning, fellow Guardians. So we are now moving on to week 5 of the Grandmaster Nightfalls. Hopefully you guys got the Corrupted done last week. It was a difficult one, but it wasn't as hard as it was the first time round. Coming up, we've got the Devil's Lair. Now this is probably the second easiest Grandmaster we've probably ever done. So I'm just going to run over a few basic builds that you could run, but honestly, this is a very easy one. I actually did do a video on how to do it quickly and safely as well, but I'll pop the link to that in the description. So let's have a look at what we're going to be running for the Devil's Lair. Now, a bit of an unusual build for this season, so I've gone for the Ariana's Vow. Now, shield-wise, there is Anti-Barrier and there's Overload Champions, but there's also Arc, Void, and Solar Shields. Make sure you've got some Void left for the boss, because you need the Void to get rid of those 4 servitors that come out that protect the boss, so just make sure you've got some Void, which will help you out tremendously there. Okay, so the reason I've gone for the Ariana's Vow, some of you may already know, it's anti-barrier, and it also covers solar as well. So this way is a great solo build, because you can have a special weapon with a kinetic, and you can cover both shields, which is quite difficult to do this time round, because anti-barrier is only on auto rifles. So bear that in mind. So I've gone with that with the bow, obviously for the overload. Again, any primary bow, the Whispering Slab, Biting Winds, anything you want to use could be good. And I've gone for the Tarantula, or Tarantula. Now, you could use any heavy linear fusion for this. A Void one probably would be better, just for a bit more Void coverage as well. In terms of super though, for the Titan, I've gone for the Bubble. Now, especially if you're doing this solo, I would go for a bubble if you're on a Titan. If you go in as a team, you could go for the middle tree with us if you're Yosas, but honestly, I think bubble's the way forward these days, especially with the crest of Alpha Lupi, just because you get so many more orbs back for your teammates, and it benefits yourself as well when you're popping up those big barricades, just to get a bit of health back in an emergency. So that's pretty much it for the Titan. Obviously, make sure you've got your overload bow mods on. Particle deconstruction as well works really good. Powerful friends with radiant light. Taking charge as well, that mod. So just bear in mind all those little ones. If you're going to run taking charge, make sure you run protective light. It will reduce your strength by 10, but it's worth it, just because you get a bit more protection. So that's basically it for the Titan. That's one build you could run. It's a good solo build if you did want to go solo. So let's move on to the Warlock. Now, I think you're going to need a Warlock in this one. Whether you run Stasis or Well, personally I think the Well is going to be more beneficial than the Stasis. But I'll show the Stasis build first. So I've actually got Divinity on here. Now the first time we did the Devil's Ruin, or the Devil's Lair, was last season, season before, I can't remember. But we did Divinities with 2 Izanagis, and they were just phenomenal. On that final boss, you can just have 1 charge Divinity, Izanagi shot, and that'll pretty much take him out of a phase. So it's really, really good to do. If you did want to run that, you can. If you are going to do 2 Izanagis, make sure you got 2 Izanagis with bows as well. Try and have an Imperial Needle and a Tyranny of Heaven would work really well, just because then you've got a bit more coverage. If you're running the Divinity, run a auto rifle, obviously, for the anti-barrier. And obviously heavies, linear fusions are just the way forward for this whole season, just with that particle deconstruction mod. Okay, so in terms of stasis, I think stasis is helpful, but in this one I think the well will be more helpful. So I would put on the well, and if you're going to run the well, definitely run the Phoenix protocols, just so you get some more, when people are getting attacks, getting kills within the well, you're just going to be getting some of that energy back again. You won't get as much as you used to, but it's still beneficial, it's worth doing, especially if you pair it with other supers, like the Crest of Alpha Lupi Titan as well. And mod-wise though, you could run Void mods. Sniper mods are probably the best one to be running, mainly because in that middle room, where you've got those big mechie-like things, there's a lot of snipers there which will take you out in one shot, so I would put a sniper damage resistance on there. That's pretty much it for the Warlock. Say there's another couple builds that you could be doing there. Another thing you could run is Le Monarch with Tiku's Divination on another character, just for a bit of fun. I say that because this is a very, very easy Nightfall, unless they're going to make it harder, which I doubt. They're probably going to make it easier than it was. It's probably on par with the Lake of Shadow, so it's a very, very easy Nightfall to do and to farm. So bear that in mind. In terms of Hunter, I would recommend a Hunter. Now, if you're going to run a Hunter, probably Stasis might be more beneficial than a Invis Hunter, because throughout this entire Nightfall, most of it is ranged anyway. So even if you get killed, there's not like so much pressure on you to go invisible and try and heal your teammates and things. So normally you can just fall back, take people out, and just push up as and when. So I don't think it's as essential to have a Void Hunter. So I'd probably run Stasis. Now, if you are going to run a Stasis Hunter, what I would recommend running is the Aeon Swifts. Mainly because you can run these Aeon Cult mods, which are so helpful. For example, here, this is the one I'd probably recommend, the Sect of Insight. This is because whenever you get a finisher on an elite or a champion, you're going to be getting special ammo or heavy ammo for your fire team. It's really helpful, and there's not many other things that benefit the Hunter on Stasis anyway, so I would recommend running the Aeon Swifts on the Hunter. And the Stasis will help quite a lot as well. Now I've gone for a Witherhoard. Now, Witherhoard's been so helpful throughout the Nightfall. We've probably used it at least once in some of our attempts for the Grandmasters this season. It was really good in the Corrupted. So I'll put it on. Probably wouldn't be any better than a Izanagi or a Tiku's Divination or anything like that, but it will be helpful in those first few rooms. If you're struggling in those, I'd probably put a Witherhoard on, just because you can pop them on where the ads spawn, and it might be somewhat beneficial in the boss room as well, just because you can pop a few around you. Obviously, when you go into the boss room, you go immediately to the left and just chill in that room. That's your safe spot. That's your no-no square. So chill in there, and you can just put some Witherhoards on the floor around there, and obviously run that with a bow or with a auto rifle with the anti-barrier rounds. So whatever you want to be running. Now, I'll put the Reed's Regret on because I really enjoy it, but again, that's up to you. But that's pretty much from me, guys. I mean, it's a very easy Grandmaster Nightfall, so hopefully you guys get it done. If you got last week's done, you should definitely get this one done. But if you're going to be running anything different, let us know in the comment section below. But thank you very much for watching, and toodles.